Welcome to Quick Bite, your fast and friendly Florida insurance update.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Roshonda, agency owner of the Isom Insurance Group here in the sunshine state of Florida, back again with another Quick Bite episode, your fast and informative insurance market update. Today is Wednesday, February the 4th, 2026, hump day. And this is one of those episodes where I need you to listen closely because the Florida insurance market is doing something we have not seen in a while. It is stabilizing. Yes. Now, before anyone gets too excited, let me be clear. Stabilizing does not mean cheap, by no means. It does not mean easy. It definitely does not mean every policyholder is feeling relief yet, but it does mean the conversation has shifted. The crisis, the crisis mode, the crisis narrative of 2023 and 2024 is slowly being replaced with something much more measured. And today we're going to talk about that, what actually changed last week, what is improving, and where challenges still remain. We are going to cover homeowners insurance, auto insurance, commercial insurance, even touch on what is happening in life insurance space. So let's jump in. Homeowners insurance. Let's start with homeowners insurance coverage because this is where the most visible changes are still happening. Last week marked what regulators are calling a renaissance of the private market. That may sound dramatic, but the numbers back it up. For the first time in 14 years, Citizens Property Insurance policy count dropped below 390,000 policies. Let me stop. That is huge. Citizens at one point had gotten over a million policies. So just think about that. They had over a million policies and they've dropped to 390,000. That is huge. This is a milestone. It means private insurers are not just dipping their toes back into Florida, they are actively competing again. And we are seeing that. The market is starting to soften. Thousands of homeowners received what are called takeout letters last week from private carriers such as Slide Insurance and American Traditions. If you receive one of these letters, it does not mean you did anything wrong. It means the private market finally sees your home as a risk they are willing to take. From my seat as an agency owner, that is a very big deal. Now let's talk rates because that is what everyone really wants to hear, right? The Office of Insurance Regulation finalized several major rate filings last week. Citizens confirmed its average statewide rate reduction of 8.7%, with South Florida seeing reductions as high as 14.1%. Florida Peninsula finalized 8.2% average decrease statewide, and Patriot Select announced an 11.3% reduction. Let me just dig into this a little bit. So Patriot Select was a newer company to the market, and they did, because I have them, they did come in, they were in the market a bit higher. So their drop is double digits because they're trying to get more in line and be more competitive in the market. Also, always remember with these rate reductions, it still depends on when it's approved and when it will hit your policy. So I have customers always call me, well, I heard that all the rates are going down. Yeah, the rates might be going down, but it still depends on when it's going to hit your policy. Because a lot of times, depending on the effective date, it might be effective for new business by, let's say, March the 1st. But for renewal business, it may not start until June the 1st. So if you already renewed, you're not going to get that reduction until your next renewal if it was before June the 1st. If you're June the 1st or later, you'll see that in your renewal when it comes up. To put that in real terms, if your homeowner's policy was $6,000 a year, an 8 to 11% reduction means hundreds of dollars back in your household budget. That is not theoretical relief. That is real money. We also saw legislative movement that could push rates even lower in the future. House Bill 1399, which focuses on affiliated fee transparency, passed its final House committee on January 29th. If this bill becomes law, insurers will be required to prove that payments made to their own sister companies are fair and reasonable. The goal here is to prevent inflated internal costs from being passed on to policyholders. This does not mean rates will suddenly plummet, but it does mean there is now pressure on insurers to justify every dollar. And I agree with this. I think there should be full transparency to the consumer. Insurance companies have to be transparent too, and I feel like there should be full transparency. Now let's talk about auto insurance because something interesting is happening here as well. The auto insurance market is slowly becoming a buyer's market again, largely because litigation costs for windshield claims and accident cases have dropped significantly. We have already talked about several companies like Progressive issuing refunds last week. The trend continued. I told you it would. Again, when you see one company dropping rates, other companies have to drop rates too in the market to compete. So carriers like Geico and Travelers have begun aggressively marketing new business rates in Florida that are 12 to 15% lower than their 2024 pricing. And I have both of those companies, so feel free to call me if you want to quote. That tells us something important. Companies do not cut prices unless they believe the risk environment has improved. Now, I do want to add a note of caution. These are new business rates. That means if you're renewing, you may not automatically see the rate reduction. Again, and like I just said earlier, it also depends. For renewal business, they do give rate cuts too. So I don't want to just say it like that. But it just depends on when it goes in effect and when you actually renew on whether you will see it and when. As for the personal injury protection repeal bill, Senate Bill 522, it remains stalled this week. Remember, I just talked about that in the video on Monday. The sticking point continues to be a disagreement over medical payments coverage. Some lawmakers want to require $10,000 in med pay if PIP is repealed, and I totally don't agree with that. That doesn't make any sense. Now let's shift gears and talk about commercial insurance, which I really rarely talk about because this is where the picture gets mixed. Workers' compensation continues to be the bright spot. Florida entered 2026 with 6.9% decrease, marking the 9th consecutive year of reductions. That is great news. However, employers need to remember that workers' comp premiums are based on payroll. Yes, it is. So if wages increase, total premium dollars may stay flat even when rates drop. Commercial auto insurance, on the other hand, remains difficult. Fleet prices are seeing projected increases between 8 and 20% this year. This is driven by what the industry calls nuclear verdicts in trucking and commercial vehicle accidents. Personal auto may be cooling off, but commercial auto is still very high. Construction and roofing tables are also feeling pressure. A report released by Vigilant Insurance on January 29th showed that while rates may be down on paper, minimum premiums for high-risk trades such as roofing and HVAC have jumped to $25,000 or more. That has pushed many smaller contractors into assigned risk markets. In plain language, some businesses are seeing relief and others are still feeling squeezed. Now let's talk about life insurance. Another area I haven't really been focused or talking about much because this area does not get as much attention, but it is quietly evolving. There are two legislative bills worth watching this session. House Bill 261 and Senate Bill 642 addresses employer-owned life insurance. I found this interesting. Sometimes referred to as corporate-owned life insurance. These bills would require explicit written consent from employees before a company can take out a policy on their life and would limit how long those policies can remain active after employment ends. So a lot of employers get insurance, life insurance out on especially key employees. And some employees don't even, I guess, know they are signing for it. I would think you have to sign for it, but I haven't really done any of those type of gone into a big major employers, and so usually that's sold to through right through the company. They handle those directly. So that's just interesting to me. House Bill 1265, which is now in the Insurance and Banking Subcommittee, focuses on protecting proprietary information submitted by life insurers to the Office of Insurance Regulation. This bill is largely about keeping AI driven underwriting models confidential as carriers increasingly rely on advanced data to price policies. On the regulator side, Florida continues to be one of the strictest states when it comes to paying life insurance benefits. Insurers are required to check the Social Security Administrator's death master file quarterly and must attempt to locate beneficiaries within 90 days. If they cannot, the funds must be turned over to the state as unclaimed property. New guidance for 2026 also emphasizes stronger verification for beneficiary changes to prevent fraud. Most changes now require date stamp confirmation sent to the policyholder's address on file. We're also seeing a growing trend toward what I call the health wealth convergence. Carriers like John Hancock and Northwestern Mutual are expanding wellness based programs where policyholders who share data from wearable devices can receive premium discounts of up to 15%. I started seeing that too for health insurance. If you roll out like a wellness program for your employees and you also do some type of tracking with their, your Apple Watch or something, in that program, the employer gets a discount on the health insurance, but also the employee does too. But this is about life insurance, so they're doing it with life insurance. That's kind of interesting. With interest rates stabilizing, whole life and universal life policies are also showing stronger dividend projections, which help seniors avoid policy lapses. So, where does this leave us? The Florida insurance market is no longer in free fall, it is stabilizing. Relief is showing up unevenly, but it is real. The private market is returning, competition is increasing, and when competition increases in the market, it helps you as the policyholder as well, because now you could shop more, right? There's more competition, there's more, so everyone's competing for rates, and it helps drive the market down. Regulators are pushing for transparency. At the same time, not every line of insurance is benefiting equally, and not every consumer will feel relief immediately. The biggest takeaway is this: insurance in Florida is becoming strategic again. Reviews matter, time is matters, and understand the market matters more than ever. If today's quick bite helped you understand what is really happening in the Florida insurance market, now's a great time to review your coverage and your options. If you would like a quote or to get a policy review, please visit our website at isominsurancegroup.com, which is also right below me in this video. Insurance is no longer just a bill, it is a part of financial planning. It should always be a part of financial planning. Never sacrifice price or never sacrifice coverage for price. Always make sure you have no gaps. If you found this episode helpful, please like this video. Share this video with your friends and neighbors, but more importantly, please subscribe. Please subscribe so that you'll get your notifications when a new video drops. And also drop in the comments any questions or any comments or any topics you'd like for me to cover in any future videos. Remember, Quick Bite episodes drop Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m. And we all know this video is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as legal, tax, or specific insurance advice. Please consult a licensed insurance professional about your unique situation. This is Roshonda with the Isom Insurance Group here in sunny Florida. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Please stay safe out there. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Visit us at isominsurancegroup.com.